Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are less than 24 hours away from Planet Zoo being in our hands! At last! Oh, it feels like it's been an eternity, but it hasn't been that long. Oh, but it's going to be good to get our hands on it. Now, what are we going to do to mark this momentous occasion? We're going to look at paths. Yes, it should be the simplest thing in the game, but it can be the most frustrating. We have a whole host of pathing, as you can see, and we have the new staff pathing, which is very, very cool addition, and if used correctly, the right way, can actually help your zoo immensely. So as you can see here, we've got all these lovely pathing, funky ones, and they all cost the same, so you don't need to worry about, oh, I really want the funky patterned one there, but it's going to cost ridiculous amount more. Now, there are a ton of options with pathing. Whether you want to flatten terrain, that's the one where you put the path down if you've got flatten terrain on, and it eats out a big chunk underneath your path. You're like, oh, how did this start happening? Flatten terrain is normally the thing to blame for that. Now, you can have, do you want edging on your pathing? So, when you do an elevated bit of pathing, that we will see in a little bit, you can actually have those railings that you normally get on that, you can have them on the ground, which is nice. You can have T-junctions, you can have all sorts of options. The best thing to do is just to play around, see what you like, see what, a lot of this is just personal. Now, hidden barriers is just a way of showing the barriers that are hidden, so if you're going to go over one. It's up to you if you want it on or not, just it might be worth having it on just so you can keep a track of whether you're going actually into an exhibit or not. But let's deal with pathing. Let's have a look at this now. So we're going to pick a boring concrete, and there we go. So this is free. This is your angle set to 0, and it just rotates around and round and round. Doesn't snap. So we're going to increase this, go up to like 45 degrees, and you'll see all of a sudden, we click down, it is like a staggered clock going round now, because it will always snap to a 45-degree angle. Personally, I never play with angle snap on. I know some people do because they want a certain... It's good if you want a very regimented style. So we'll see in a little bit the grid system and things like that. Cuddles uses that all the time, because she likes a very formulated, structured zoo and how she likes the layout being done. Now, length. I'm going to leave this in. You're going to see me here struggling to try and get my length down. If we put it to 0 and we just place that down, we can now use that as our base point, increase the length, and there you go. Now it works. With some of the little foibles that you get in Planet Zoo, and I want to keep these in so you can see that everybody suffers from them, as I've said before. So, we bring that length down. I normally work with sort of a 2-meter length, but it's entirely up to you what you want to go with. It's just, if you're doing massive, like, huge bits of pathing, as we'll see, you can go up to, on the width, really, really big one. So this is the 4 meters. This isn't very wide at all. When you're doing the big meters one, let's go now. Come on, ram it all the way up. These are the big boy paths. This is really wide. So it's designed to be used sort of in the main areas of your park so that you don't get the guests all congested up. The little 4-meter ones are good if you want to sort of, if there's a little terrarium you want them to go see, or a little food area. But if you're in the main concourse areas, your paths, the little 4-meter paths are soon going to get jammed up. So you want big, big maximum wide paths. Now, you'll see here, I'm on 4 meters wide pathing, but yet still, because I've used the grid system, and the grid system is fantastic, by the way, you can see here that it will not allow me, it won't auto snap, because it doesn't fit within the grid. It will not allow me to use just a little 4-meter bit of pathing. It's very, very, the grid is really, really good, but it does limit you. You can just take it off, and then go, go free crazy with your own style designs. But to get a rough structure in place, the grid system is fantastic. And it's very good doing elevated, which we're going to have a look at. So here we go. We're going to do a big circle here. So imagine this is, you've got an enclosure there, maybe sunk down a little bit, your timber wolves are in there, and you want to do some upward going past. And the way we do that is literally as if we're going to place a path at the bottom. We hold down shift, we just drag our mouse up, and it starts creating those angles. So you see, you go flat, which is a very shallow angle, and you go up again, and it will go into stairs. And you can do the same in reverse. You'll see in a minute. I'll get to a level, so you go. So again, the angle would be up, because my last angle was up. We just hold down shift, move the mouse down, and it will go level. Hold it down again, it will start going down. Now, grid system works on whatever height you are at. So as you can see here, because I'm up in the air, my grid system now is saying, okay, everything is going to be up in the air, and it's all going to be the basically the same as the original one you placed. So it's going to be 4 meters wide, so on and so forth. Now, normally, if you're playing Coaster, you'll know this, that grid actually follows you. I think that's a beta glitch, as you know, all this footage has come from beta, which is frustrating as hell. Now, as we were talking about the railings earlier, see that upper, the elevated one has got railings, which makes sense. You can have them on lower ones. If you're doing a nice, fancy, maybe the through course of the zoo, something like that, you might want barriers all over it just to make it look pretty. Or even, say, in your staffing area, you might want handrails, something like that. It's just an option that's there, but it is nice. So here you go. So this is me now not using the grid system and just doing a little free curve, which doesn't have, because I've taken off the struts, and these are the options. You can have struts off, struts on. I personally like struts to be on, unless I'm doing literally a small overhang. I just think it looks more realistic. As you can see, that structure's hanging out there. It has nothing to support it. But it might be, if you want to bring it, I had a giraffe house, which unfortunately I haven't got the footage because it's in beta. I had a giraffe house and the path went into the sleeping area of the giraffes, elevated up above them. Now, natural pathing. This stuff is lush. This is really good for if you want to do a path into an enclosure, especially like a jungle style path. So you've got a savannah or something like that and you want your guests to be able to walk around inside it. It's just a really nice touch to have this like savannah-y pathing. There you go, just connects in. And it has all the same options that are available. You can make the width bigger, you can do all sorts with it. As you can see here, you've got like the little log stumps, or you got log stumps with a little sort of rope between them. I quite like the stumpies, just these ones. And as you saw there, you can snap and go upstairs with them. And they do make for a really nice, if you want a more, almost... That's what I'm looking for. Sort of wildlife park, like a safari park feel to it. The natural paths are really, really good. Now, we're going to take a little travel and we're going to head into the zoo that Frontier made. I was going to say that Planet Zoo made, but the Frontier made design is there because we want to look at the rides and the ride queue pass that we can have. So, when you're doing an exit path, it's just a standard path. But when you are doing the queue path, you'll see here, little dude at the end. That's actually a very special ride. If you haven't played Coaster and you're literally jumping straight to Planet Zoo, you won't notice. That's designed to put on the entrance of your ride going out so that your guests can queue up and ride your different vehicles, say your train or whatever. Now, we will be going into more details about queuing because we've got a video about the trains and the safaris and all that good thing. Now, fingers crossed, I will not have to use beta footage for that, so we might even get the new boats in there, which will be really cool to have a look at them. That's one of the ones I'm really excited for. So as you can see here, this is a nice little queue path, and you go between the red one, which is like a kind of, it almost looks like water, like marbly, and then you got the herringbone. Now we're on to the good stuff. This is staff pathing. So this is pathing that only the staff members can walk on, hence the obvious name. So this would mean this tarmac area, we could have people walking around there all day long, but when we hit this blue hexagonal pathing, only the staff members can use that. So it's very good for, let's say we have 3 enclosures, and in the middle of those 3 enclosures we can build like a staffing area, which is where we can hide all of our buildings. And again, exactly like all the other pathing, staffing can be elevated, it can connect to everything. It's exactly the same as all the other pathing, apart from people can't use it, which is fantastic. And here we go, I now can't connect to the other path. Annoying. The trials and tribulations of Planet Zoo and Planco's pathing system. Now, we already know that from beta how important this staff pathing is going to be. A good layout is almost more important than, say, the guest pathing, because what we need is for our work zones to be crisp. We need our guys to be able to go in and get the animals. If they need the vets, we need them to be able to get them fed, which hopefully if Frontier have sorted that, then we should be all good. So a really good infrastructure with staff pathing. It's easy for me to say, it's going to be invaluable. Now, you're about to see here some tunneling. Now, it does have a few side effects, which is it deletes all the ground underneath, which is a little bit frustrating and a little bit annoying. So what you want to do is, if you're going to use tunneling or, say, Flatten Terrain, anything like that, you want to try and use it right at the last moment so that you don't get... So you see here, we're going to start approaching it, and then boom, we switch it on and it munches through. And we connect up. It's a really easy way of creating tunnels through things. Obviously, as the name suggests, but do be aware that you're going to get this dip. Now, you can try and fill it with water. You need to do a bit of tweaking. You'll probably need to go in and lower it down a bit so that you can get... because it can't go at the same level as a path. So you need to drop that whole section down a little bit, then just fill it with water. Or you can do my old classic favourite, which is grab some plants and bung it in. And end up making a nice feature around this, which is quite easy to do. Or you could say get some marble and kind of build a little tunnel. Something like that, or some wood, either side, some wood logs stuck in the ground, sort of, say, waist height, would be a nice little feature there. But it's a lot easier. You could, obviously, lay the path down and then mould that shape around it, which I will say is my personal option. It's what I like to do, but that's whether you're comfortable with the terrain tools. That is a whole spaghetti junction of pathing. This has only been a brief overview, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much to pathing, it's absolutely insane. But tomorrow, you'll get to have a look firsthand, because we get Planet Zoo. Have a great one, everybody, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.